Good morning, everyone. We are Team VVSY and we are presenting to you our proposal to improve environmental sustainability at NTU. And we have deliberately focused on food sustainability, on how to use technology to reduce and recycle food because you can't really reuse food, and how to motivate students to really make the leap. And we are so proud to present our 5-pronged approach to really get here. So why food sustainability? We could have focused on water or electricity. Why food? We have good reason for that. We have found that the greatest gap lies in food sustainability. NTU and Singapore has done great when it comes to water and electricity, but there's something lacking when it comes to food. Let me tell you more about it. So firstly, Singapore is a country that imports 90% of the food, and what's going to shock you is we're wasting 55% of it, which is 800,000 tons of food being wasted. And mind you, it's just not restricted to food. If we can cut down this wastage by 15%, the impact on CO2 emissions is the same as reducing 86,000 cars off the roads. What about recycling? Do we really recycle our food? No, we don't. 13% of the food only is what is being recycled, whereas for other materials, Singapore is doing great. From 66% up to 90%, we are recycling it. And just like the ma'am mentioned here, that there are technologies out there, and that's what wants us that we really need to implement these technologies to really make the breakthrough. And what about in NTU? The case that was provided to us did not even have one single mention of the word food. There are hardly any initiatives by NTU. There was only one that we could recognize by walking around NTU, which was the food tank, which is hardly visible and not that effective, unfortunately. So, let me present you our first solution. How do we reduce the amount of food thrown away by F&B outlets at closing time? We have an app. The way it works is students would be able to find the leftover food, leftover food from restaurants in and around NTU. They can order and pay online a much cheaper price, and then half an hour or 1 hour before, they can go and collect it. How do we know it will work? Because restaurants are continuously wasting money, and despite being profit maximizers and forecasting really well to minimize these waste, they are still wasting a lot of money, and they would be able to make some money at least if they post it on our app at much cheaper prices. Also, by being associated with a green initiative, they can gain a competitive advantage over their competitors. And how can we be so sure it's going to work? Because it's been tried and tested. There's an app called Too Good To Go, which has been highly successful in 6 countries. Just to give you an estimate of how successful it is, the country where it was started in, Denmark, it already has 150,000 users. And what about how implementable and scalable it is? It was just launched 2 months ago in UK. It has 80,000 users. Unique users are 40,000, and they've been able to save 800 meals. Every single meal contributes to 2 kgs of CO2 emissions. We're looking at something really serious here, and we have some great ideas for collaboration with NTU societies such as IEEE and OSS to really make this happen. Let me tell you about the second app. We all have been presidents and in the executive committee of different student bodies in NTU, and we noticed that despite planning and forecasting these events that happen almost every day at NTU, huge amount of food is being wasted. And what do we do as leaders of our societies? We call our friends. We see any passerbys to please come and eat that food because so much is being wasted. So we thought, how about a simple web application with minimal cost to develop, and if we could just broadcast this to the wider student population? This is something that we find is really feasible. So both these apps are highly feasible and implementable. The first one definitely requiring some strategic liaison with food outlets, but we are very positive both of them can be implemented within 1 year, and we have done some great analysis in the challenges that we might face and our solutions to mitigate it, but it's in the appendix because we're so excited to share the rest of our solutions with you.
The second solution that we propose is just installing the Biohydract Eco Food Waste Digester across NTU canteens and food courts. What does it do? It does just one thing very simply. It converts the food waste, organic food waste, into grey water, which can then be sent to recycling plants and then routed into the Singapore water supply. Basically, it produces no solid waste with it, no solid byproducts that NTU operators or students have to handle. Moreover, it comes equipped with a data processing system that tells you the amount of food you waste, the amount of water you create, the liters of water generated, which can then be used to optimize food production in NTU canteens and food courts. 98% of all food waste thrown in NTU can be made into grey water by this machine. Basically, the benefits are multifold. It reduces the hauling cost, reduces transportation cost to incineration facilities. As they told us, it reduces the cost of transporting it to Pulau Semakau for reducing the wastage, for the transportation cost, it reduces janitorial cost. But why can we and how can we be so sure that it's going to work? Because the installation is really simple, and everything that's required to install this machine is already available in the NTU canteens. Plus, moreover, it has been a proven success across Singapore. 40 plus hawker centers across Singapore have already implemented this. By 2018, Singapore government plans to install this in 30 plus locations in secondary schools and high schools. Plus, moreover, we know it's pretty feasible because the NEA 3R fund subsidizes these kinds of initiatives by almost 80% of the qualifying costs required with them. We tell you that the implementation schedule looks something along the lines of 15 months starting now. Plus, moreover, the only challenge that we foresee with this is the fact that you need to educate canteen stall operators and students to use this machine effectively. Moreover, in terms of motivating students, we can use this to demonstrate the kind of impact that students are having by their own initiatives, by throwing food into this machine. That's all. The impact they're having with the boards in canteens and in food courts will motivate them to a large extent.
Thank you. So now we've spoken about all the initiatives that we could start, but all these initiatives are actually useless if students don't use them. So what are the main reasons students aren't really motivated about sustainable initiatives? There are three main reasons. The first is technological utopia. Students believe that all these problems can be solved by technology, there's nothing we have to be worried about, this has to change. The second reason is apathy and ignorance. Most of the students don't even believe there is a problem, but Singapore doesn't face a problem, and they're not able to relate to the problem faced by other countries. So therefore, there's a huge gap between the ignorance, because students aren't able to really relate themselves to these problems. The third is the lack of impact. Each student believes that, I'm just one person, what can I do? Even if I try to save my food, even if I don't waste that much food, I'm just one person, the impact I have is minimal. So what is, the University of Hawaii actually came up with a recent study that suggests real long-term motivation comes from a real passion for the subject. So what is NTU doing about this? NTU has this compulsory environment sustainability course, but there's few problems with this. It's a 1 AU module and it's an online module. It lacks perspective. While it does show that yes, there are problems happening all over the world, students in NTU are not able to relate to that, and so they don't get intrinsic motivation from it. The second problem is there is no limit on the number of attempts you can have to solve an assignment. So what do students do? Well, if someone has solved the assignment, either they ask that person, okay, what the assignments are, since there's a limited question bank. The second thing what they do is, they skip through all the lectures, they keep attempting the questionnaire, and once they solve it, they just clear it. So the purpose for them, what they see, how they see the module is actually as burden and not something they can actually learn. So what are our recommendations? We look to revamp the course by making it group work and project based. Students actually work harder when there's project work involved because you will be evaluated by your peers. The second thing is that we want to involve students in the learning process by actually involving cases within NTU and Singapore, so students are able to recognize that yes, there is a need for food sustainability, and they'll be able to empathize with this problem. The third is to increase awareness of current and upcoming sustainable initiatives. Well, we do have a food bank in NTU, people aren't even using it. What you're supposed to do with the food bank is you're supposed to throw, let's say something's going to be expired soon, something like bread or food, you're supposed to keep it in the food bank. People are actually throwing used cans in it, so there's a huge lack of awareness about the current initiatives as well as the planning initiatives that we have. Yusuf will talk to you about the extrinsic motivation.
So as my teammate Shilvam has already told you, being ex-presidents of several clubs, we know that there is a problem of food wastage by NTU student bodies. We believe NTU should solve this problem by implementing a system of checks and balances to curb food wastage. How should they do this? They should reward and give tokens of appreciations to clubs who use the sustainability measures which we have recommended earlier. We say that NTU should in fact reward clubs with good sustainability efforts by rewarding them with more subsidies for future events. How can they do this? They can do this by partnering with NTU Earthlink or other volunteer organizations. All we suggest is that these clubs send one individual who comes and he weighs the food that's wasted. This will greatly reduce the food wastage by students and student bodies in NTU, and it will also help these clubs optimize the food budgets. We believe that this is a very feasible strategy. It's very low cost and very low risk. So this can be implemented within right from the next semester, and there are very few risks involved.
So basically, whatever we suggest has been represented, all strategies in that feasibility benefit matrix. We have represented in terms of prioritization as to what we want to prioritize first, in terms of strategies we want to implement through NTU. In the interest of time, I'm skipping past the cost. And in terms of comparative impact with respect to energy and power, we believe that food is a thing to go with. In terms of awareness and untapped potential that we can tap on, capitalize upon now, this is something NTU can and should pursue. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now proceeding on to the Q&A.
You mentioned that there is a food bank in NTU and it's hardly used or misused.
Yes, that's
So
right.
how do you ensure that this bio high-tech digester gets used properly and how do you spread the message?
So basically, this thing is really simple. So for example, with respect to the food bank, right? We went to the food bank. We saw the containers there. They were filled with used cans. Basically people throwing away the stuff that they used to throw in dustbins, etc. That is not something the food bank is intended for. But with respect to the food waste digester, it is intended for food wastage, any kind of food waste that you can put into that digester. So it's really simple for students. Right now, all of us in canteens or in food courts return everything to the cutlery return station, right? We return everything to the place where the person, the cleaner of those canteens, collects everything and actually disposes it off. So it's really simple. We don't even need to educate students in and of itself. It's just that they have to represent or they have to just put their food back instead of into dustbins at the cutlery station where the person can and will handle it to be routed to the food waste digester at the end of the day.
I said about food tanks, so I believe what you mentioned is an existing initiative currently that is available. So and also like about apps and engagement of stuff. So what is your take on the current initiative on food tank? Because you have identified the challenges, do you look into like some of the possible ways to rectify the current situation?
Okay, so firstly, as you can see, there has been a gap in the marketing of the food tank. Firstly, we realized that this initiative is the only initiative that we were able to find out and is available as of we knowing it. And there's just a small box. So by the virtue, fundamentally, this initiative is not solving the crux of the problem. That's what we feel. That's why we have much greater, bigger initiatives. So be it this initiative or the greater initiatives that we are proposing, effective marketing is very important. So for example, the placement of this, as you can see, it was hindered, it was hidden in some corner. However, the initiatives that we are proposing, we're going to make sure that it's marketed very well. For example, let me give you an example of the food tank that we are proposing, the food tank where you can throw anything and it will be digested. There, students would be allowed, by the electric board that we had suggested, students would be allowed to see the impact that they are having. So this is really about the marketing and about the promotion. So what's really happening is students would know exactly how much waste that they have generated in relatable terms. So picture something like you have been able to save 86,000 cars today. That's something powerful. That is something students would be able to relate to. So I think all we are driving at is strategically marketing, strategically promoting to the students, be it what are the impacts of the wastage they are doing, or what are the impacts that they're going to be if they use the technology that we are promoting. And this can be done, so as far as the management is concerned, we highly recommend engaging student clubs like Business Solutions or Marketing Club to get this done for them. Marketing is a marketing club which would be allowed to share the same strategies that we are telling you about, and management should definitely engage clubs like these.
Maybe you can just do a run through on the cost.
Cost, yes. So the cost breakdown looks something like this. The app, so we have 3 computer science students here. That's why you might see that the cost is minimal, but we estimated even being, yeah, so this is something we are outsourcing to India. A lot of the technical work has been that's always good. Yeah. So yes, I myself worked in a website development firm earlier, and we are representing something very genuine here. However, as you might be able to see, the total cost of installing those machines is very high, and we do aim to get the NEA subsidy of the 3-hour fund to subsidize 80% of the cost. And if you have any specific questions about the cost, we'll be very happy to answer them.
Are the machines going to be launched together or?
So, if you can just move to the implementation schedule, right? So,
Of the
Machine is the
yeah.
so basically, first we obviously need to like liaise with the person who distributes it. That's the bio-high-tech communicator in Singapore. So they're obviously willing to promote this because they have already liaised with various hawker centers, various schools, JCs, etc. across Singapore. What then we are trying to do is to introduce this first in the two biggest canteens that NTU has, Canteen A and Canteen B. They have almost 20 stalls each and the footfall of more than 1,000 students and more than 2,000 meals every day. So we just try it out there, prototype it there, and then route it to all the hall canteens or all the residential canteens over the next 9 months across NTU. Then ongoing feedback is obviously necessary as to whether it's having impacts or not.
One question. It's a very interesting presentation by you guys. I just want to know, like, since this has been implemented in different institutions already, have you checked like how effective are they using this system right now?
So since 2013, it has been in the hawker centers. In 2013 until now, it has been in the hawker centers. And like recently, only past 6 months, in the 20 out of 40 or 20 hawker centers have implemented it. So basically, it's been hugely successful in terms of the carbon emissions it reduces, in terms of the mound waste. So basically, in terms of like Sengkang and Sembawang, they have been sending huge amount, like their reduction in the food waste is sent to Pulau Semakau is actually really massive. We haven't put in the exact numbers here, but the research that bio-high-tech suggested and the research that NEA put up recently suggested that there's been a huge amount that has been reduced in the terms of like where the hawker centers are majorly located in Sembawang and what's that? Sengkang. Tough for me. So basically there's been a lot of reduction in the amount of food that's being sent to the incineration facility and the landfills.
Just another question on the app. So you're mentioning that most likely it will be the in-house design app.
Is this one? Oh, okay, so there are two apps, right?
The recommended.
This one? Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna deliver the two apps. So one can be in-house website, which is a web application. It can be developed by even us. That is super easy. But really developing the bigger app, which has to combine the features of Visa and electronic payment, as well as the geolocation, we really do aim to partner with bigger student clubs in OSS, such as OSS and IEEE, or suggest to Too Good To Go to really come to Singapore and collaborate with us, because the kind of infrastructure, the kind of wastage, and the kind of the people here, 9 in 10 Singaporeans are concerned about food waste. So your target population here is really the one that is similar to those in Europe, and you can really come here and implement this with us. So for this app, the first app, we do aim to partner with a lot of student bodies, as well as inviting Too Good To Go to help us with the implementation. That's the idea. All right.
Thank you, VVSY. Next up, we have puzzles and solving.